How did the world get so ugly? I think Pizza Hut is the best example of an ugly world. You guys remember when we were younger and you'd go to Pizza Hut and it's a family restaurant. It's got a pizza bar and a salad bar, and there was Book It, and you get your free little personal pizza. And today, Pizza Hut largely is a strip mall delivery spot. Most of the Pizza Huts that I actually see, or the ones in my area, it's attached to a big gray block, and that's all it is. And there's many reasons as to why the world got so ugly. This is an amazing video by Sheehan Cork. It's got close to 4 million views. I want to show you some of the context in what he's saying, and I want to explain it to you as I see it. Though I'm not correct about everything, I certainly think I can add a bit to what he's describing because he is correct and the world is getting ugly. I won't bury the lead for you, my friends. I believe it is the liberal economic order playbook, the homogenization of the planet, and when you're dealing with an expanding communication network, to maximize influence, you want the lowest common denominator. So, when you see that beautiful Roman architecture that we use in our governmental buildings fading away, and now the structures that are being built more likely resemble gray cubes, it's because lowest common denominator. As all the world's cultures mash together, instead of trying to actually create something that resonates with the people, they say, save the money, make it a gray block. Brutalism, as it were. Let me play some of his video for you real quick, and then I want to show you some articles and talk about it. Trump is actually pushing back. Let's roll.
But 150 years...
We'll start...
views of the River Thames.
Here we go.
In London. Now, it's a charming place where tourists love to come. But why do they love coming here? Well, you've got views of iconic buildings like the Houses of Parliament and St. Paul's Cathedral, but that's not all. Have a look at this. It's a typical modern lamppost.
Indeed, it's ugly.
Do you like it?
No, I don't.
Well, it does its job, but not much else. But look over here at another lamppost. It does its job and a little bit more.
A lot more.
It's details like these that help make this such a charming place to be. But these two lampposts don't just look different. They represent fundamentally different worldviews. If you want to understand any society, don't listen to what it says about itself. Look at what it creates.
This is amazing. Look at this. Brutalist buildings. This image right here is a perfect example. This is Crown Court Scottish National Church on the left with this beautiful lamppost. It's not the best lamppost. You can see it's a bit more minimalist than the other lamppost with the cool little fish around it or whatever that was. But this building had a little bit of art to it. Although, to be completely honest, it's still actually kind of minimalist. To the right, you have a more brutalist structure, a gray block. Yeah.
London's little lanes are charming now. But 150 years ago in places like this, you'd have had whole families crammed into these tiny rooms without running water. There would have been open cesspits spilling down the streets, and the stench of sewage boiling in the midday sun would have been unbearable. The whole city stank.
Oh, yeah, it did.
It wasn't only horrible to live in, but genuinely dangerous.
See, at that point, London had a problem. It was the world's biggest city. Its population was growing every year, along with the construction of new factories and mills and dockyards. All those people and all that industry produced a lot of waste. It had to go somewhere. Where did it go?
Indeed it did. River.
Into the Thames.
Indeed it did. And this is similar, too, in the United States. We had this with, I think it was the Cuyahoga River, which was the catalyst for the Clean Water Restoration Act. What happened was in Ohio, I don't know if it was the Cuyahoga, but I think it was in Ohio, a river burst into flames. I kid you not. And they said, how is this possible that the water, the literal river, is on fire? Well, all the chemicals being dumped into it really messed it up and made it a gigantic saturated mess of toxic waste, which burned. And when they tried to figure out why this was, well, the issue is all these factories added just a little bit, and the snowflake doesn't blame itself for the avalanche. So they said, listen, each and every individual action has created a tremendous problem. You know, I kind of describe it like this. If you've got a bunch of chickens that walk around and do whatever they want, they poop all over the place. And that poop mixes into the soil and the grass grows greener. But what if all the chickens are in one concentrated place? They eat all the grass, they crap everywhere, it piles up, and the rain can't wash it away. To put it simply, if you have a gigantic pile of chicken crap, it takes a lot of rain to break it down and wash it away. But if you take that same pile of chicken crap and you spread it out over a large piece of land, the rain washed it away in one go. And therein lies the issue with these hyper-dense cities. Now, this resulted in, again, the Clean Water Restoration Act. But let's jump forward and see more what he has to say. And then we'll talk to you about the brutalist minimalist and the new global order, which is destroying beauty and adventure.
It's impossible to calculate how many lives he saved, how many millions of lives he improved. And he's commemorated here at a memorial that no one ever stops to look at.
Oh, man. Joseph Bazalgette? Bazalgette, sorry.
When Bazalgette's embankment was completed in 1870, it needed lighting, of course. And so a public competition was held to design the lamps that would line this new promenade. This was the winning design featuring these peculiar creatures. It's a little much, perhaps, but what's clear is that the Victorians took great pride in their embankment and thought it needed appropriately grand and dramatic decoration. See, these lamps were among the first public electric lighting in the world. This was a radical, revolutionary new technology. Crowds literally gathered to watch them be lit up for the first time. What the iPhone was in 2007, these lamps were in 1870. But looking at it now, you wouldn't know that.
Isn't that sad? The great victories of our cultures and our societies are roots from where we come from. You wouldn't know that. This is a great video, and it is terrifying. A story that I like to mention is how I went to the Bahamas for the first time. I was on a cruise, and we were supposed to go to the cruise. There's a private island the cruise would stop at, and there was like a buffet and food, and you'd go on the beach in little huts or whatever. And we were supposed to be there for a few hours, but unfortunately, a storm came in. And so the cruise is a standard cruise ship. I don't know which company it was, but fairly standard thing. They said, okay, we're gonna dock at Nassau instead in the Bahamas. And I said, okay, this will be cool. The Bahamas, hey, right? I'm gonna go there and have some local fare. So in the ship dock, they said, you have several hours to go out and do your thing, but make sure you're back before this time, or we will leave without you. And when I got off the cruise ship to go walk around a bit, kind of dangerous to be completely honest, but what do I care? Young man, right? What did I find? Starbucks, Gucci, Hard Rock Cafe, McDonald's, and I was sickened by it. I don't care about those things. I have McDonald's down the street. I have Starbucks across the street. I don't travel on a cruise ship to a Caribbean island so that I can go to McDonald's. Unfortunately, my friends, this is global homogenization. And so, if they figure out what works, why change it? The sad reality is, this is not just about the architecture that we have, the buildings that we see, although it is apparent in the structures, and as Xian points out, hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, lampposts, but in our movies. Take, for instance, Groundhog Day. It's a classic. How much money did Groundhog Day make? Let's pull up Groundhog Day's Wikipedia entry. 1993 film. An amazing, amazing success. At a $14 to $30 million budget, which is fairly big. They pulled in $105 million at the box office. Now, I'm sure most of you know the film Groundhog Day because it's considered to be like one of the best movies ever made. It is universally praised. It's, I don't know, on par with Back to the Future. Let's pull up Back to the Future. Back to the Future, 1985. I didn't even exist when this film was made. $19 million budget, and it brought in $400 million, spawning sequels and ultimately resulting in the creation of Rick and Morty, believe it or not, which was a parody of Back to the Future. Why do I bring this up? They're not going to make Groundhog Day ever again. And if they do, I mean, to be honest, they might, but it's not going to make any money. No one's going to share the idea. Why? Well, we used to have a shared culture. We had a monoculture here in the United States. And that meant we all focused on similar things. We believed similar things. We appreciated similar things. Unfortunately, we don't anymore. Multiculturalism has destroyed this. You see, if we were to make a Groundhog Day movie, do you think the Muslim community of Dearborn is going to resonate with the idea of small town Indiana? Where were they in that movie? They're in Puxatawny. They're in the actual, yeah. Let me. I'll just literally. Well, I have it pulled up right here. They're in what is it? Puxatawny, right in Pennsylvania. I was like, was it Ohio or Pennsylvania? And are they going to resonate with the pulling up of the groundhog and letting him see his shadow? This hokey tradition? No. It doesn't matter to the Indian H-1B immigrants. It doesn't matter to the Muslims. It doesn't matter to the Chinese, the Koreans. It doesn't, or the Latinos, the Honduran farmers. So when you make a movie about an American tradition, heritage Americans, as they say, well, they'll appreciate it. Now, they may make a movie like Groundhog Day. It'll pop up on Netflix. It'll be in its trending category at number 6 or 7, but it's never going to be like it was. They can make Marvel movies where people enjoy the big explosions. Transformers. Here's what's happened. It's called the lowest common denominator culture. In order to attract as many people as possible, they have to reduce a product down to its bare minimum. For example, you take a look at these gag shows on YouTube. There's a viral channel. Let me see if I can pull this one up. Just for Laughs Gags. They're pretty funny videos. It's a reality show going back to the 2000s, and I think it's Canadian. Newest videos, Just for Laughs Gags. I'm going to pull up one of these so I can show you with 14 million subscribers. That's a lot of subscribers, my friends, and a lot of money. So let's see what we have. Absolutely unhinged pranks. Let's grab this one and play this video and see what it is. It's all fake. Okay, anyway, I think you already figured it out. There's no talking. It's all staged. These are not real pranks. It's called Just for Laughs Gags. It's been around for 25 years, apparently. And here's the video. It's a guy wearing sunglasses with the price tag still on them, and a security guard chasing him as hokey music is played. As the security guard runs up, let's do this. The woman points to the garbage can. The man, they all point to the garbage can for the security guard. He looks inside, and there's nothing there. He jumps out of the other garbage can and runs away. Canned laughter. I loathe it. Look, I get it. Some people find it funny, but I loathe it. Here's why. There's just hokey music and canned laughter. It's lowest common denominator content. I'm not saying that to insult the content. It's massively successful. But the point is, if you live in India, China, Japan, if you live in Kenya, you can watch this video and laugh. Lowest common denominator. That means, what do we all have in common? Well, if the jokes were in English, people in China wouldn't follow them. Unless some of them spoke English. They do. So what do? You make visual gags that anyone can understand regardless of where they come from on this planet, because we are now producing content on an international scale with the expansion of communications. So those that make the most money have the broadest appeal. Hence, well, if you do, it's not going to work in politics, I'll tell you this. But if you are looking to make money in a media space, you want to find something with really broad appeal, which brings me to another, I'll call it sad reality. And not that I'm not going to rag on it too much, but right now, there's a big boom happening in gambling YouTube video content. During the 2010s, politics became massive as these digital blogs hyper-focused on culture war issues and politics, creating centers of interest for young Americans, people in their millennials, in their 20s, to focus on. You liked video games, and all of a sudden, now politics was being injected into it. Then with the election of Donald Trump, the media and everybody went full bore, and this became our culture. Politics became pop culture. It's not the same for Gen Z. Gen Z doesn't care as much. What we're starting to see now is Gen Z is very into gambling, which, yes, is a very bad thing. But this is their culture, and now what's happening is we are finding the CPMs, the ad rates for gambling content is insane. Back in the day in 2018 or 2019, the CPM on political content was $15 to $20. I kid you not. And for a variety of reasons, it's gone way down. So what does this mean? Okay, well, that meant that in 2018, if I got 1,000 views, I get $20. You might be thinking, 1,000 views only pays $20? That's not a lot of money. Well, to be fair, it's right. If I was to think about it this way, what if I said to 1,000 people, come to my show? You're going to make way more money than that. To be fair, you're charging them money. This content is free. But the point is, we've done events for Timcast where we've had 800 seats, and a sponsor will come and say, we want to sponsor this event to these people, to these 800 people. And we get paid. In one instance, we got paid $80,000. Well, events are really expensive. And the purpose of the sponsor is we can't do it without you because venues cost a lot of money, travel, security, and all of these things. I think, some of these events we do might cost $50,000. Big theater shows, they're fun. And sponsors pay big for them. But I do a sponsor spot on YouTube. And for 1,000 views, they won't even buy it. You need at least 20,000 typically to get a signed sponsor. YouTube will run ads on your channel. Well, here's the thing. Right now, political content is getting about a $6 or $7 CPM. You're lucky if you're one of the top shows with prominent personalities of influence. You can charge more than that, between $10 and $20. But on YouTube, it's going way down for everybody. However, if you are a YouTuber and you make a video of yourself playing poker, blackjack, or slots, you're going to get $20 to $40. This is crazy. The point I'm bringing up is cultures change, and there's a reason why there's more money in gambling than political content, and it is, my friends, lowest common denominator. If you are a regular person, you're interested in watching someone pull slots. I know a lot of you may be saying, I'm not going to watch that. Yeah, but generally people are entertained by watching a dude say, all right, I'm going to put 10 grand in the slot machine and hit the button, and I just won $100,000, which I'm going to be honest, it's all fake. It doesn't happen. The math behind how slots work, it's all entertainment meant to promote gambling. But here's the thing, my friends. You may be saying gambling is immoral, gambling is wrong. Gambling is lowest common denominator. Everyone loves. Everybody loves it. And I know there are moral Christian conservatives who say it's degenerate, it shouldn't happen. Hear. I'm more liberal in that regard. I don't think gambling should be completely illegal. I am worried about the expansion of casinos everywhere. But again, lowest common denominator. Is someone going to travel to see a great cathedral? Not really anymore. I mean, Notre Dame is beautiful, but set it on fire and they tried to fix it. A lot of questions there. But everyone's going to travel to that big casino because it's fun and entertaining. Libations and laziness. You walk in, everyone understands the basics of it. You don't have to speak English. In fact, I was playing a poker game. Now, to be fair, I know they say poker's gambling, but come on, guys. It's a skill game. If you walk in and you don't know what you're doing, you're losing all your money. It's not a blackjack, flip a coin, you might win. But there was an old man at the table who I'm pretty sure didn't speak English, but he understood the game. I actually played poker in Mexico, which was really fun. I learned some Spanish words. The point is, the reason why gambling content is so popular right now, and there's more money behind it, there's two big reasons. It doesn't matter where you're from in the world, you can watch a gambling video. You can watch, and poker is doing really well. Young people are finding there's a lot of money being made playing poker because gambling content that the average person doesn't understand is not really the same thing as gambling, but it still generates that attention. So some of these poker videos are really in the niche and esoteric. Somebody talking about, I'm on the button with this, and you're like, he straddled to 25, and then, we got some limp jam. People are going to say words like that, but a lot of it succeeds just by saying like, bang, I hit a royal flush, and I got paid $1,000. And to the average person, and I mean literally average global person, all they see is money, gambling, fun. You could win. You could get rich. Crypto has an element of that too. So there's another element to this. One, you got a wider audience, an international audience, meaning if you make this video, if your video is being displayed in Europe, YouTube's making money from European advertisers, and that money can flow to you in the United States. It's kind of crazy. That's why it's really funny when I run ads, they talk about how the ads could appear in foreign countries, and there are certain restrictions based on different country. But the other issue is that advertisers love it. Advertisers who actually buy the ads are saying, I don't want to be on political content or this, I want to be on content that talks that attracts regular people, doesn't piss them off. But everybody's pissed off in politics and they're black-pilled and angry. So what products do you really want to buy in the political space? To be honest, nobody wants to sell toothpaste on a video about war with Venezuela. However, what if your video is you being like, I'm in Vegas, I got a mimosa, I'm walking around, this guy's dancing, there's music playing. Everyone loves it. It is lowest common denominator. Well, if I sold toothpaste, I'd say, I want this. So they're making way more money. The reason why we are seeing this brutalist architecture pop up, we've got this article, Trump targets brutalist buildings, this is from back in August, is because Roman architecture could be misunderstood or offensive to certain groups. If you have a multicultural society and all these people come to the meeting and they say, do you want beautiful Roman architecture, Victorian architecture, or what? One person says, I actually think the old American tradition of having our courthouses be modeled in some kind of Roman fashion is a good idea. And then one guy comes in and goes, the thing is, we don't really want to spend money on this, so I think maybe we should just do like Adobe, perhaps. And the other guy goes, I don't think so. I think we should do traditional Japanese-style construct. I'm kidding, by the way. Literally, it's not that extreme. The point is, no one's going to all agree on one culture's traditional construct. They're going to say, I don't want to spend money on you building something that represents your... It's not so much they're saying, I don't like you. They're saying, I don't care about this. So what happens then is they come together and they say, all in favor of the stock black pole? They go, done. We saved money. I've told this story another way. And this is the issue of mass migration and multiculturalism. Now, I will say this first, because many people may be waiting for me to talk about the liberal economic order. The point is, as we create a multicultural global society, we homogenize, you are going to get everything. Brutalist. We'll all have shaved heads and be wearing gray jumpsuits. So I'll tell you a story. The story of a man in the late 1800s. And big, open, empty swaths of land. He builds a farm. He moves there with his young wife. He's a man. He's in his early 20s. And his family says, we staked this claim for you. We're going to build a farm on it. And so they build a farm, and now he's got a place for him and his family. Well, as the years go by and he gets older, he has a kid, and those kids grow, his kid gets older, and another farm pops up, density. There's more people. They say, we need a place to come together. And so they decide around this time that as baseball is starting to pop up, late 1800s, early 1900s, they say, let's make a field where the kids can come and play together, and we can play old stickball, huh? What year was baseball anyway? What year was baseball? Make sure I have my story right. 1744, isn't that crazy? The earliest in the United States was around 1845. That's when modern baseball was made. So this guy says, I'm going to build a baseball field, and he and his friends put it together so the kids can come play. Those kids grow up, and the community says, we loved playing ball with our dad, and we want our kids to have that too. So what do? They say, let's make it nice. Let's put up a scoreboard. Let's put up some bleachers and have a real nice baseball field. Well, another generation passes and everyone's playing baseball, and it becomes an American pastime. Now you have this beautiful baseball field. Well, as time goes on, it starts to wear down and break down once again, and City Hall meeting comes together, and the man walks in and says, my great-grandfather stood before this city hall, this town hall with all of you very fine people, and he proposed that we revitalize the old field that our great-grandpappy, our great-great-grandparents put together. I say we honor that legacy and make sure we keep this in good standing. And I don't think we've put enough effort into making sure that the scoreboard was nice. I say we put in a new scoreboard. I say we put in new bleachers, and we make sure everyone stands up and they all throw their hats in the air and they cheer, yah, huzzah. Joe Biden gets elected. He then brings in thousands of Haitian migrants, and he says, all of you are going to live in this town. And they come in. And then one day, an old man comes before the town hall meeting, and he says, it was on this day, some 100 years ago, my great-grandfather stood before this town hall and called for a revitalization of our town's baseball field where I played, my daddy played, his daddy played, and gosh darn it, my grandchildren will play too. But it's time we allocate resources from the town's tax allotment, from the coffers, to fix it up because it's fallen into disrepair. And all the people throw their hats in the air and yell, huzzah, except for the Haitian migrants who say, I don't understand why you want baseball. We need migrant welcome center. We need for people to come knowing how to live here. It's not wrong, right? I mean, if you're a Haitian migrant talking about Joe Biden, you need an immigration center. You need to be told how to find a job, how to find a house. You need placement. All of a sudden, there's rabble. But guess what? The thousands of Haitian migrants that came in, it's 51-49. Sorry, town locals, your traditions, your beauty, what you loved does not matter in this homogenized community. They say, we don't know or care about your stupid baseball. This dumb game for children, they say. I'm not trying to be so angry and to insinuate they're all nasty and aggressive. The point is, they say, listen, if we put it to a vote, we don't have love for what you describe. The other side says, well, we don't want to spend our money in an immigration center. We didn't bring you here. So what happens? Nothing or the minimum. So they don't fix up the baseball field. It starts falling apart. A lot of it has to do with the birth rate. And you get nothing. The lamp posts are brutalist, ugly. The buildings are big gray blocks. Because in the same regard, as someone stands up and says, my great-grandfather helped build the original town hall the town hall that we now stand in, its beautiful architecture, I say as we expand it, we keep true to that vision of the Roman-style architecture, and the Haitian migrants say, we don't care. Don't spend the money on it. Well, they're not wrong to want to save money. The point is, I think some things are more important, and it's worth spending money on our culture and the beauty to represent who we are and what we care about, but I'm sorry. This is lowest common denominator culture. So right now, there's a sad reality in that If you want to get a hot YouTube channel, it's got to be recognizable to as many people as possible. Especially as more and more people are producing content, how are you reaching more people so you can make money doing it? If you're a conservative, you got half the country. If you're a liberal, you got half the country. There's no lowest common denominator between both political sides. So political content's going to be partisan. But if you're making content, you may be thinking, why should I bother getting involved in a space where the market's capped? Gambling, the whole world is watching. And you don't need to even say words. You can literally just press the button and people see the number and they see the prize. And that's where we're going. The last thing I'll say on this is there is a way to win, and that is fishing where the fish are. So, as many of you know, I'm a big poker player. I'm a big fan. I love the game. I skateboard. I play music. I very much love Marvel movies and video games. And I'm told all the time by these Christian conservatives, not all of them, but many of them, it's for children, it's degenerate, don't do it, you're wrong, it's bad. It's fascinating to me. Imagine a missionary saying, I will not go and preach the word and try and convince these people because they're degenerates. That's silly, isn't it? The point is, how can we make sure to be a force in these spaces that pulls them towards a better direction? How can we come into these spaces and say, responsibility matters, but I support you being passionate and having your fun? It is absurd that you would remove yourselves from the lowest common denominator space. If we want our good buildings back, you have to campaign for it. You have to fish where the fish are. You have to go to these people and explain to them. We need to be in these spaces. Well, my friends, I suppose that's the sad reality. As he talks about all of these buildings and the continued move towards ugliness, disrepair, the question is, what's the lowest common denominator? And the reality is, the average person, when they see this bent, I don't even know what that thing is. I don't even know what it is. Bent piece of metal stuck in the sidewalk. You go to a town hall meeting and ask, should we pay to fix it? They're going to say, why? I don't care. That's it. Where we are now is we're entering extraction culture, where everyone is saying, I just want to take as much from me as I can. It doesn't lead to a good place. But what do you think? Curious your thoughts on all of this stuff. Boy, did the world get ugly. Sad, I guess. But again, comment below, subscribe, and let me know what you think. I'm going to leave it there. Smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. Always appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. And we'll see you later in Timcast News segments and Timcast IRL later tonight. Have a good one, everybody.